Amanda, have you made up your mind? Are you coming to the capital in half a month? Amanda said softly but firmly, I have made up my mind. That's great! Both the teacher and the teacher's wife are waiting for you in the capital. On the other end of the phone, the teacher couldn't help but ask again, but I heard that you have already settled down there for 8 years. Are you really willing to leave the children's father? Also, Tony, I heard that the child is closer to his father. Would he be willing to come with you? Amanda let out a self-deprecating laugh. Tony no longer recognizes me as his mother. So how could he possibly come with me? I'm taking Anna with me. The person across sighed and said, since you've already made your decision, let's meet at the capital train station in half a month. After thanking the teacher again, Amanda hung up the phone and picked up her daughter, walking towards the unfamiliar home. As soon as she entered the family compound, she was stopped by a neighbor. Hey, the factory celebration has started. Amanda, why are you still heading home? Hurry up and go see the excitement. Many people have prepared performances. Amanda instinctively wanted to refuse. I haven't finished my chores at home. What chores? The factory celebration only happens once a year. Even if you don't want to go, Anna definitely wants to see the excitement. Right, Anna? Amanda looked at her petite daughter, thinking of Anna growing up in her hometown village. Having seen nothing, her heart ached. Then let's go take a look. Amanda held her daughter, the neighbor leading the way, and before they even entered the hall, they could hear the lively sounds inside. Song, the factory director, and Lara are truly a perfect match. Lara, when did Song, the factory director, say he would invite us to his wedding? Since there are so many people today, let him say it in front of everyone. Song, the factory director, you two have been dating for a while. When will you invite us to a feast? Amanda held her daughter tightly, wanting to step outside, but she was pulled back by a neighbor. Amanda, what are you doing? Hurry up. Let's go inside and see the excitement with the factory manager and his partner. Amanda looked down, a bitter smile appearing on her face. Everyone at the heavy vehicle factory knows that Lara is Francis's partner, and she is just a pitiful woman who couldn't survive back home and came to seek refuge with Francis with her daughter. It was Francis's kindness that allowed her to work as a nanny in the Song family, giving her a way to survive. No one knows that she and Francis have been married for 8 years. She raised children for him in her hometown and took care of her in-laws. It wasn't until they passed away one after another, and her daughter Anna was of school age, that she brought the child to find him. In the auditorium, Lara lowered her head with a red face. The crowd's teasing grew louder. Hurry up and say it. Lara is the daughter of the former factory director, and from now on, all the workers in our factory will be considered her family. If you don't say it today, you won't get away with it. Francis laughed heartily and said in a booming voice, Lara, I plan to hold a banquet in the factory cafeteria on the 22nd day of the 12th lunar month. We will get married, and you will spend the new year with me. What do you think? After we get married, we will live happily together for a lifetime. The auditorium was filled with thunderous applause. Lara blushed, looking at Francis with a playful pout. He simply stood on the stool and said, Today, let everyone be a witness. If I, Francis, ever do anything to wrong Lara, feel free to come and deal with me. I won't retaliate or argue. Good. With your word, we can rest assured. Lara must be happy, right? Director Song is really good to you, arranging an easy job and hiring a nanny at home so you don't have to work. How did you come across such a good man? Amanda held her daughter tightly, wanting to leave. Anna is already 5 years old, and she has always been afraid since coming to the garage. Now seeing her father about to marry another woman, she couldn't help but cry out, Wow! When the crowd heard the little girl's sharp cry, they all turned their heads. In the center of the crowd, Francis glared at Amanda and shouted angrily, What are you holding her for? Everyone is having a good time, and you two are deliberately causing trouble. Amanda was busy comforting her daughter and instinctively explained, Anna has never seen a party before. I brought her to take a look. Francis quickly flashed a hint of guilt on his face, but it soon disappeared. He frowned and impatiently scolded. So she came. What's she crying for? Coming here to ruin the holiday. If you can't take care of the child, then don't come to crowded places and embarrass yourself. hurry back to sweep the floor and wipe the table. Does he not know why the child is crying? Amanda felt a chill in her heart, and the last bit of hope she had for Francis was completely severed. There are still half a month left. In the end, Amanda still left the hall holding her daughter. On the way home, Anna sobbed and asked, "Mom, Dad is going to marry someone else. He doesn't want us anymore, does he?" Amanda touched her daughter's cold little face, feeling a wave of heartache. Anna has never experienced a father's love growing up. This time they met, Francis already had someone he was discussing marriage with. He avoided Anna even more, fearing that others would see she was his daughter. Anna has suffered too many grievances. Amanda pressed her face against her daughter's face. "Anna, I'm sorry. Francis is not a good father. Let's forget about him, okay?" In fact, she doesn't understand either how the man who was once cheerful and generous in her memories could have become like this. Amanda Mao relies on her grandfather. She is beautiful, and since she was 15, the young men in the village have liked to gather around her. But Francis is different from those young men who only flatter her with words. He quietly went to work at the Mao house, fetching water, chopping wood, washing clothes, cooking, and doing the heavy work in the fields. He did it all. When Mao grandfather fell and got injured while foraging for herbs in the mountains, Francis carried him on his back for over 10 miles to the clinic to see a doctor. So when Amanda was 20, the Song family found someone to propose to her, and she did not refuse. 3 months later, she married Francis. At that time, he had already enlisted in the army and returned home on leave to marry her. Amanda Mao still remembers that on their wedding night, he held her hand and vowed to treat her well for a lifetime. She believed him. He worked hard to build his career while she stayed in their hometown to raise their children and take care of her parents. In the blink of an eye, their son Tony was already 5 years old. Francis retired from the military and became the director of the heavy vehicle factory in City A. At the first opportunity, he went back to pick up his son Tony, saying that he wanted to take on the responsibilities of being a father, to educate his son, and to ensure he studies well so that he can become a successful person in the future. He brought her gifts, a tea mug, a new towel, and 10 pairs of work gloves. He looked at her rough hands with deep sympathy and said that she had worked hard over the years in their hometown to honor him and raise their children. Amanda never thought he would change his heart. It was only a short 2 years. After her mother-in-law passed away, she traveled a long distance with her 5-year-old daughter to City A. His first words were a question, "What are you here for?" Amanda felt as if she had been slapped in the face. Her heart, once filled with joy, suddenly turned cold. She remained silent as Francis assigned her the role of a nanny. People in the family compound all said that Song was truly a good man. Even after achieving success, he did not forget to help the unfortunate people from his hometown. Amanda forced a bitter smile. Her daughter's cold little hand brought her back to reality. Anna carefully wiped away Amanda's tears and comforted her innocently. "Mom, Dad made us both cry. He's not good. Let's not have him anymore." Amanda nodded. "Right. I don't want him anymore." She let her daughter sit by the window while she went to pack her things. This time, she was going to discard the old items she brought from her hometown along with the man. Suddenly, Tony's voice came from outside the door. "Dad, Miss Lara dances really well. She'll be my mom in half a month, right?" Amanda stopped. The footsteps of Francis and Tony were getting closer. Lara's voice followed. "Francis. Tony. Wait!" She jogged to the door. "You guys were so busy watching the performance tonight that you hardly ate anything. You must be hungry, right? I brought some peach crisps and egg cakes. So hurry up and eat a bit." 3 people entered the house together. Tony was extremely happy. "Miss Lara, you are so nice. I love eating peach crisp and egg cake the most." Lara looked at Amanda and Anna, smiled and said, "Amanda, are you and Anna coming to eat some too?" Tony grabbed the bags of peach crisp and egg cake, looking at Amanda and her daughter with disdain. "No, they are all country bumpkins, not worthy of eating peach crisp and egg cake." Amanda looked silently at Francis. He pretended to be angry and scolded Tony. "What kind of talk is that?" Tony apologized. Tony with a defiant look. "I didn't say anything wrong. Why should I apologize? They are just country bumpkins. A bad omen. Everyone says so. Miss Lara, am I right?" Lara gently patted his head, even if it's true. You can't say it like that. Understand, Tony? Tony reluctantly said, since Miss Lara said so. I won't say it anymore. He clutched the plastic bag tightly, no peach crisp and egg cake for them. Lara and Francis stood side by side, wearing polite smiles. Amanda. I'm sorry, but Tony has been spoiled by us. You're an adult. Please be more forgiving. Amanda had long gotten used to Tony's attitude, and a faint smile tugged at her lips. It's fine. We weren't really supposed to eat anyway. She scooped up Anna and darted into the small room, leaving the living room for them. She placed Anna on the bed and cooed a few words before continuing to tidy up. The three people outside exchanged a few words. Lara left, and Tony reluctantly went to see her off. Francis flung open the door and questioned, Amanda, were you doing this on purpose today? First, you ran to the factory auditorium to annoy me, and then you came back with a long face, speaking in a sarcastic tone. What exactly do you want? You show up without a word and bring Anna along. I've arranged a place for you to stay. You don't have to do anything. Just being supported for free. You and your daughter. What else are you not satisfied with? Do you really want to force me, the factory director, to quit and go back to the mountains with you to be a farmer, facing the dirt and working the land for a lifetime just to make you happy? Anna was so scared that she huddled tightly against her mother. Amanda picked her up and said in a very calm tone, It's my fault. I won't do it again. Francis showed a hint of surprise in his eyes and said somewhat awkwardly, As long as you know who takes care of you. Just behave yourself from now on and don't go looking for trouble. Amanda did not refute. Half a month later, he married Lara. She took her daughter to the capital. She and Francis have no future together. Amanda said she wants to take Anna with her. The little girl was no longer sad. She was just counting the days on her fingers until the day of departure arrived. Amanda coaxed her, Anna, if we see the sun set 12 more times, we can leave. Then I'll go watch the sun. Anna charged forward 2 steps, then suddenly stopped. Amanda looked up and saw Francis and Lara coming towards her, holding Tony on either side. Tony was so excited that his face turned red. The people in the family compound looked on with smiles. Oh, look at how great this family of 3 is. While others fear that a stepmother is hard to deal with. Lara and Tony get along so well that there's definitely no need to worry about that. Francis looked at Amanda and naturally instructed. Lara wants to eat red date cake, so don't just loiter outside. Hurry back and steam a batch. Amanda was taken aback and silently stared at him. Her grandfather loved red date cake the most when he was alive, so she was the best at making it. When Grandpa passed away, she cried as if she had lost half her life. Francis was heartbroken and never let her make red date cake again after that. Grandma loves to eat it too, but he stubbornly made her change her preferences. He said he would never let Amanda be sad in his lifetime. But now, he has her making red date cake for another woman. Francis impatiently said, Amanda, what are you spacing out for? Hurry back and cook. Can't you handle this little thing? Amanda responded and took Anna home. She was quick and nimble, and soon the fragrant red date cake was out of the oven. Anna looked on with longing but wisely kept quiet about her desires. Amanda said with concern, Mom made too much. Anna will eat in a bit. Just as she was about to take the plate out, she turned around and saw Lara standing in the kitchen doorway. She wore a mocking smile on her face. You don't really think I want to eat what you made, do you? She spat, a whiff of earthy smell. Taking advantage of Amanda not reacting in time, she snatched the plate and threw it on the ground, and she herself violently recoiled, crashing into the door with a loud bang. Lara clutched her hand and let out a painful groan. Ah! In the next second, Francis and Tony burst in. Lara gasped and said, Amanda didn't mean it. Francis looked coldly at Amanda. If you don't want to do it, just say so. Why ruin things like this? How many years have we been able to eat well? You even pushed Lara. Amanda, don't force me to hit a woman. Tony also rushed up and pushed her. Bad woman. You bully Miss Lara. Get out of my house. Amanda stared blankly at Francis. He didn't ask a single question and has already condemned her. Lara said with a pained expression, Francis, my hand hurts so much. I'll take you to the clinic. Francis picked her up and walked out, not forgetting to threaten Amanda, if Lara's hand is really hurt, You better watch out. Tony kicked Amanda hard. You mangy dog. Bad woman. Get out of my house. Anna ran out and pushed him hard. Don't hit Mom. You bad guy. Tony raised his hands to slap her, but was stopped by Amanda. She coldly looked at the child who had come out of her belly, whom she had raised hand in hand to the age of 5. Tony flinched for a moment, jumped up and shouted, "You two mangy dogs. Shameless. I told my dad to kick you out." While cursing, he turned around and quickly chased after Francis. The two of them went. "Miss Lara, I'll give you all my candy. Eat the candy and it won't hurt anymore." Amanda held her daughter tightly, softly comforting her. "Anna, don't be afraid. We'll be leaving soon. We're taking the train to the capital, and those people won't be able to bully you anymore." Anna asked through her tears. "Mom, why do Dad and brother help others?" Amanda paused for a moment and softly replied, "Because they are no longer your dad and brother. She and Anna no longer want them. In 12 days, they will completely disappear from their world." Francis, once they left, they never came back. Amanda comforted Anna, and the mother and daughter had lunch together. She took her daughter to the health room at the vehicle factory to resign. Amanda had learned medical skills from her grandfather. After coming here and finding out Francis had changed, she went to the health room to look for a job. Initially, the health room didn't want her, but she went every day to help out, was quick on her feet, and indeed knew how to treat patients. The health room soon relented and allowed her to work as a temporary employee. Dr. Lee from the health room said that as long as Amanda obtained her traditional Chinese medicine certificate and medical license, he could help her apply for a permanent position and become a formal employee at the vehicle factory. Amanda has already obtained her traditional Chinese medicine certificate, but she is about to leave. So of course, she can't continue working. Amanda went to the health room and waited for Dr. Lee to finish before saying, "Dr. Lee, I won't be coming anymore." Before she finished speaking, a voice came from the doorway. Francis said, "Dr. Lee, you need to fire Amanda today. She has no qualifications and no medical license. Working in our factory's health room is against the rules. If something goes wrong, who will take responsibility?" Amanda turned around and saw Lara with her right hand wrapped in bandages, Francis and Tony standing close to her. Dr. Lee said awkwardly, "But the health room really needs staff. Amanda's medical skills are quite good." Francis replied with a serious face, "If we need more staff, I'll find a way to report it to the city leaders and get someone over here as soon as possible. We can't leave the job of treating and saving lives to unreliable people. If something happens, we can't bear the responsibility." Amanda lowered her head, trying hard to ignore the pain deep in her heart. Francis used to come to her for treatment whenever he had a headache or fever before going off to join the army. Now, she had become the person he referred to in a derogatory manner. Dr. Lee looked at Amanda. She smiled and said, "You don't have to feel awkward. I just won't come back from now on." After leaving the health room, Francis let out a cold snort. "Lara's hand is injured and will hurt for the next few days. How can someone as cruel as you deserve to treat and save others?" He was about to say more when someone rushed in. "Director Song, there are people waiting for you in the office." "Someone from the city," Francis responded softly, turning his face to gently instruct Lara, "You just rest at home these days. If there's any work, let Amanda handle it. Don't be soft-hearted. She hurt you, and just making her do your work is already too lenient on her." After he left, Amanda picked up Anna and walked outside. Lara held on to Tony and followed. When they reached a secluded spot, she stopped Amanda and smugly said, "As long as I want, you will never be able to find a job. Amanda, from now on you can only rely on me and Francis to scrape together a little bit to support you and your daughter." Lara looked at Anna with a cold gaze. "Don't blame me for being ruthless. After all, you brought your daughter here to annoy people. You and your daughter still have a long way to go in your good days." Anna shivered in fright. Amanda looked at Lara and said calmly, "If you dare to hurt Anna, I won't let you off the hook." Lara shrugged back a bit and deliberately said, "Tony, she scared me." Tony charged over like a little cannonball and kicked Amanda hard. "If you dare to hurt Miss Lara, I won't let you off." Amanda's calf was in pain, but it was nowhere near as intense as the pain in her chest. When she first arrived, She really wanted to understand what Frances had done. How could the Tony who raised her turn out like this? But now, she no longer wants to know. Amanda on the way back. The people she encountered all gave her strange looks and pointed at her. How can there be such an ungrateful person? The factory director helped her. And not only did she not show gratitude, but she also bit back and hurt the factory director's fiancé. Ugh, what a thing. I think she has developed inappropriate feelings. She wants to be the factory director's wife. Otherwise, why would she hurt Lara? She should take a look at herself and see if she is worthy of that. Song the factory director is helping a poisonous snake. If she stays in the house, who knows what else she might do. Let's go report to Song the factory director. This vehicle factory cannot accommodate such a venomous person. We need to get her out of here quickly. Amanda remained silent, and they followed her all the way home. She was holding Anna at home. They were outside mocking and ridiculing her. He left only close to noon. Frances has returned as well. Lara and Tony followed behind him. He strode up to Amanda and said, "Tony said you scared Lara this afternoon? It seems I just let everyone in the factory know you hurt Lara. The punishment is still too light." He coldly said, "Go make dinner. Lara wants to eat yam cake. If you can't make it, then get out of my house." Outside, it was already dark, and he knew that Amanda with Anna had nowhere to go. He knew very well that she almost died from a severe allergy when she peeled yams at the age of 12. Amanda was freezing all over, her gaze lifeless. She didn't say a word, got up, and hugged Anna as she slipped into the kitchen. When the yam cake went into the pot, her hands were red and swollen, and her whole body itched intensely, making her tremble uncontrollably. Anna was scared and cried. Tony saw her and grinned, making a funny face at her. "Crybaby. Bad luck, star." Lara stood at the door, pouting as she said, "Frances, I don't want to eat yam cake anymore. I want to eat braised pork with potatoes." Frances responded with a sound, turning to the kitchen and saying, "Amanda, did you hear that? Lara wants to eat braised pork with potatoes." After fussing until after 10 at night, Lara was finally satisfied and sat down to eat. Amanda worked hard for several hours but couldn't sit at the table. Instead, she sat by the stove, feeding Anna the yam cake that Lara didn't want. Anna cried with hiccups, "Mom, I don't want to eat." "Are you still feeling bad? Shall we go find Uncle Lee to get some medicine?" Amanda's face was swollen to an alarming degree, but she managed to force a smile to comfort her daughter. "Mom is fine. Just eat quickly, and you won't be hungry anymore." Amanda was coaxing her daughter to eat, but she herself hadn't been able to eat properly for days, and her stomach was starting to ache slightly. Frances ordered her to clean up after the three of them finished eating in the living room. Amanda calmly complied, rolling up her sleeves to wash the dishes. Lara was playing in the yard with Tony, who occasionally burst into loud laughter. Frances stood at the kitchen door and said to Amanda in a deep voice, "Do you realize your mistake?" Amanda didn't even look up. "I know." Frances nodded in satisfaction, "Then go apologize to Lara in a bit, and promise never to do this again." Amanda fell silent for a few seconds and said softly, "What if I don't agree?" Frances coldly replied, "Then you can take Anna out, and come back whenever you're ready to admit your mistake." With a soft tick, Amanda's tears fell into the dishwater, instantly disappearing without a trace. She took a deep breath and calmly said, "I apologize." Frances was finally satisfied. "Hurry up and finish washing the dishes. Then come here." Amanda cleaned up the kitchen, letting Anna sit in front of the stove while she walked out to the yard. Just past mealtime, it was the liveliest time in the yard. There were people everywhere. Seeing Amanda come out, they all showed expressions of curiosity. Amanda knew this was Frances's doing. She walked up to Lara and deeply bowed, saying, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hurt you. I promise I won't do it again. Please forgive me." The yard was extremely quiet. Frances gently said to Lara, "Lara, since she knows she was wrong and has been punished, you should forgive her." Lara smiled and playfully scolded, "It's just a small matter. I wasn't really blaming Amanda. Song the factory director and his wife are really nice. This is what a family should be." Everyone praised Frances and the couple, and they smiled in response. The courtyard was extremely lively. Amanda, like a wandering soul, quietly returned to her room. The next day, she took out the teacup, towel, and labor protection gloves that she had once treasured, and gave them all away to the poorest elderly people outside the family compound. All the old items she had brought from her hometown were also thrown into the garbage pile, just like she discarded nearly 10 years of her past relationship. In the days to come, Amanda didn't care about anything. She was only looking forward to the day they would set off for the capital. Whatever Francis and Lara said was the law. As their wedding day approached, the enthusiastic folks in the family compound began preparing candies, cookies, and wedding quilts for their celebration. Some skilled hands took scissors to cut out double happiness characters in the yard. Once one was done, others would take it to paste up. The vehicle factory was filled with joy. With just 3 days left until the wedding, Francis took Lara to the photo studio to have their wedding pictures taken. "When you come back tonight, bring Amanda a checkered scarf," he said awkwardly. "It's cold, and I see your ears are frozen. I saw the scarf today and thought it would suit you, so I bought it. Please take it." Amanda didn't want to cause any more trouble, so she silently accepted it. Francis felt a strange sensation in his heart, and he called out to Amanda, "Don't you have anything to say?" Amanda shook her head. Francis felt a surge of anger. He said in a patient tone, "Amanda, I know I've wronged you, and you're upset, but I really have no way out. Marrying Lara and supporting you is the best I can do. I hope you can understand me a little." A look of sadness flashed in Amanda's eyes. She didn't turn around and calmly said, "I know. I don't blame you." She just decided that she didn't want this man anymore. Francis, however, still seemed dissatisfied. After a moment of silence, he turned and walked away briskly. The next day, after having Amanda's breakfast, as usual, Francis went to work, while Tony couldn't wait to head out to find Lara. Amanda and her daughter stayed at home, and she went over the luggage they needed to take one more time. Anna followed along like a little tail, counting together. The mother and daughter didn't have much, just a few old clothes. Amanda hid the train ticket well and took Anna out to buy lunch. When they returned home, she immediately saw that her little bedroom door was open. Amanda felt a sense of foreboding and was about to rush in to check. Just then, she heard Lara's voice nearby. "Tony, the lady is teaching you. This jade is of poor quality and not worth much. You mustn't be fooled and treat junk as treasures in the future." Amanda immediately turned her head, seeing Lara with a familiar peace pendant hanging from her finger, swaying back and forth towards Tony. Her expression suddenly changed, and she could no longer remain calm. "Give it back to me." She reached out to grab it. Lara turned away and said with a grin, "I told you. This thing isn't worth anything. I wouldn't even want it if you gave it to me." "Tony, I just wanted to take a look at it. I'll return it to you in a bit." "Why are you in such a hurry?" Amanda clenched her fists tightly. "Tony, why did you secretly take my things?" Tony was first startled, then defiantly said, "Who stole it? This is my house. I can take whatever I want." He glared at Amanda angrily. "I saw it all. Dad secretly gave you a scarf behind Miss Lara's back. You accepted it. How shameless." Amanda shot him a deadly glare, her eyes making Tony involuntarily shrink behind Lara. Lara sneered, "What, afraid to own up to your actions?" She swung the peace pendant, mocking, "I'm marrying Francis tomorrow, and you secretly accepted his things. What's wrong with scolding you? It's already generous of me not to smash your face. So hurry up and thank me." Amanda took a deep breath. "Lara, I didn't mean to argue with you. I'll return the scarf, but you have to give me back the peace pendant." Lara sneered, "Argue with me? On what grounds? You want to trade the scarf for the peace pendant, right? Fine. Go get it." Amanda turned around and quickly retrieved the scarf from last night. Lara said with a forced smile, "Get the scissors and cut it to pieces." Amanda picked up the scissors and, without hesitation, snipped the scarf into shreds. "Is that enough?" Lara nodded. "All right. Here you go." Before her words had finished, she threw the peace pendant out of the window. Amanda ran out with a pale face. The white jade peace pendant had shattered into pieces, leaving only the faded red string intact. She knelt on the ground, trembling as she looked at the shards, tears falling one by one. Someone asked, "What has been broken?" Amanda quickly gathered the shards in her palm, suddenly raised her head, and grabbed a brick to charge at Lara. Lara shrieked, "Murder! Help!" But Amanda has reached her breaking point. Grandpa's only heirloom has been destroyed. At this moment, she just wants to fight someone, her eyes red, as if she has gone mad. Everyone was stunned. Amanda lunged at Lara with a brick, ready to smash it down. People around let out screams, but just a second before Amanda's hand could hit Lara, it was grabbed by someone. Francis said in a deep voice, "Amanda, what are you doing?" Amanda tried a few times, but he held on tighter, almost crushing her wrist. She knew her strength was far less than his, so she could only let go. She reached out with her other hand, the shards of white jade piercing her palm and causing it to bleed profusely. She said with a trembling voice, "She broke my grandfather's only heirloom." Francis was taken aback and instinctively said, "Lara definitely didn't mean to." Amanda closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them again, her gaze at him was like that of a stranger. She didn't say another word and turned to leave. Behind her, Francis called out anxiously, "Amanda." She acted as if she hadn't heard, walking away without looking back. Lara threw herself into Francis's arms. "Francis, you scared me to death. Luckily you came. I didn't mean to. Let's give her more candy tomorrow, and I'll add $5 to her salary this month as an apology." Amanda heard Francis reply, "We're getting married tomorrow. Lara, you should get some rest tonight." She closed the door. Anna threw herself into her arms. "Mom, don't cry. There are only bad people here. We'll leave tomorrow and never come back." Amanda held her daughter tightly, sobbing as she agreed. That night, Francis came knocking again. Amanda ignored it. He stood at the door and whispered, "Amanda, Grandpa's only heirloom is gone. I know how you feel, and I'm very sad too. I will get you a better one later, okay? Don't blame Lara. She didn't mean it. The scarf is broken. I will buy you a new one, so that Tony won't see it. This is his compensation." Amanda smirked. She hadn't slept all night, counting the time, and when the moment came, she picked up her bundle with one hand and held Anna with the other, leaving Song's house without looking back. He walked quickly towards the train station. The next day is the wedding day. Francis got up at dawn. During the days Amanda has been here, no matter how early he got up, she would always be up too, bustling around in the kitchen making breakfast. But today, when he walked out of the bedroom, he found the kitchen completely dark, and the door to the small bedroom next door was tightly closed. Francis furrowed his brow, thinking about what happened yesterday, and considering that he was getting married today. She must be feeling quite upset. In the end, he didn't go up to knock on the door. Standing at the door of the small bedroom, I said inside, "I'm taking Tony out. Amanda, remember to get up and eat breakfast. Don't skip it." Waking up too early, Tony groggily asked, "Dad, when are you going to get rid of that woman and Anna?" "I hate them." Francis whispered sternly, "What do you mean that woman?" "She's your mom, and Anna is your sister." "Tony, Dad has been too busy to deal with you lately. You're becoming more and more unreasonable." Before he could finish, Tony shouted, "Country bumpkin is not my mom. I want Miss Lara to be my mom." Francis quickly covered his mouth, fearing he might disturb others. "Be quiet. If you talk too loud, then Miss Lara won't be able to be your mom." Tony immediately covered his mouth. Francis continued to advise, "Today is the day your dad marries Miss Lara. After today, she can be your mom. Do you remember what your dad told you last night?" Tony nodded. "In a little while, Dad will take you to Aunt Lou's house. You need to be good and have lunch with her at the factory canteen. After lunch, you can call Miss Lara Mom. Can you do that?" Tony spat out a word from between his fingers, "Can." Francis sent Tony to the secretary's house, where quite a few people were already waiting. Upon seeing him, they immediately started calling out groom and making a fuss. Everyone had smiles on their faces, watching Francis ride a bicycle adorned with a big red flower, rushing towards Lara's home. Everyone teased him, "Song factory director, you can't wait to pick up the bride. Can you?" But only Francis knew that as he rode his bicycle towards Anne's home, what flashed through his mind was the day he picked up Amanda. "It's such nice weather too. From 3 days before the wedding, he couldn't sleep at all thinking about Amanda becoming his wife. On the wedding day, he was so nervous when he left in the morning that he almost tripped over the threshold. After the wedding, Amanda dutifully took care of his parents and raised children in her hometown. She was the one who saw them off when they passed away. He always knew how good she was deep down. It was precisely because he knew that he didn't want to let her go. Francis pressed his lips together and gripped the handlebars tightly. He was very clear that Amanda was a determined and capable person at heart. When she came to find him with her daughter, he directly told her that he wanted a divorce and to marry someone else. She would definitely agree and then leave with the child. But he was unwilling. He didn't want her to leave. So he directly told others that she was a relative from his hometown who had come to stay with him. He made her a nanny at home. He wanted her to see that Tony had already been taught not to recognize his own mother or sister. Her grandfather had already passed away, and there were no relatives in her hometown. No place to go. Having left her hometown with her daughter, she couldn't bear to leave her son behind. So of course, she couldn't go anywhere. Francis looked at Anne's house getting closer and murmured, "Amanda, I'm sorry for you. I will treat you well after I get married." Lara's dad is the old factory director of the vehicle factory, having worked there for decades, and he was allocated a house with a yard. Lara only has 2 older brothers. She is the youngest and the long-awaited daughter in the family, having had a smooth sailing life where she got everything she wanted. Today is her happiest and proudest day. The yard is decorated inside and out with red double happiness characters, and the place is bustling with noise and excitement. Francis put the bicycle away, stepped into the yard, and heard the people in the yard laughing and shouting loudly, "The new son-in-law has arrived." But suddenly, his heart ached. Amanda only had her grandfather. Her wedding wasn't this lively. But that thought was just a fleeting moment. He was already being pulled by Anne's relatives and acquaintances from the factory. Hurry up. Hurry up. Song. If the factory director doesn't say something nice today, we won't agree to let you take the bride away. After a bit of fuss, Lara appeared, dressed in red with a red flower in her hair, smiling brightly as she sat sideways on the back seat of Francis's bike. The bicycle rides very slowly. The people from Anne's family and the new and old employees of the vehicle factory all followed a pair of newlyweds to the canteen today. Francis is the factory director, and his wife Lara is the daughter of the old factory director. Everyone in the factory is very happy, and even the canteen is filled with auspicious characters. The large canteen was packed, and everyone had smiles on their faces. The old factory director stood up with a beaming smile and said a few words. Seeing that it was about time, Francis's specially invited witness, the old secretary of the factory, stood up and said with a smile, "Today, Xiaosong and Lara are getting married, which is a great day for our vehicle factory. I won't say much more. Let's all witness this and enjoy this celebratory meal. From now on, Xiaosong and Lara will be a family." Before the words had left his mouth, a sudden urgent voice came from the entrance of the canteen. "Wait! This wedding cannot happen." The lively canteen fell silent in an instant. Everyone turned to look at the person at the entrance. It was Lara's Uncle Sam. What's going on? Why is Lara's uncle causing a scene? Ignoring the whispers, Sam strode confidently to the center of the canteen, standing next to the old secretary, his sharp gaze fixed on Francis, "That nanny Amanda from your family. She's your wife, right? Your son Tony and the daughter Anna that Amanda is raising. They are both yours." With a buzz, the canteen erupted like water hitting hot oil. Everyone was looking at Francis. His face turned pale as he forced himself to say, "Uncle, I don't know what you're talking about. Have you been deceived by someone?" Sam interrupted. "I advise you to think carefully before you speak. I dare to say this now because I have already verified everything. Your parents back home have passed away, and it was your wife Amanda who took care of them, right? She also gave you a pair of children. A wife of hardship cannot be abandoned. Francis, being a person is not something you can do like this." He turned to look at Lara's parents, who had a difficult expression on their faces. "Sister, brother-in-law, Francis is a marriage scam. Lara cannot marry someone like him." Just as the old factory director was about to speak, Lara suddenly grabbed Francis and said hysterically, "Francis, it must be that bitch Amanda. She can't stand it and wants to ruin our good thing. She looked at her parents, her eyes red, and said, Mom and Dad, even if the sky falls today, I will marry Francis, no matter who he was before or whose father he is. I love him for who he is. No one can stop me from marrying him. The canteen was in an uproar. From what Lara was saying, she clearly knew all along that the so-called nanny Amanda from Francis's family was actually Francis's wife. She actually wants to marry him. Old factory director and his wife were so angry their faces turned ashen. Sam furrowed his brow. Lara, it's hard to find a three-legged toad in this world. But there are plenty of two-legged men. You should listen to your uncle. Lara refused to listen, crying out as she tried to hit him. Who needs your meddling? Who told you to ruin my wedding? Get out. Get out. I don't have an uncle like you. Lara's mother couldn't take it anymore, clutching her chest and saying, Lara, look closely. This is your uncle. He is doing this for your own good. Francis dared to deceive in marriage. Our own family won't let him off. Are you confused, child? Lara's family all knew that at this moment. They had to pin all the blame on Francis. I firmly believe Lara was also deceived. Save her. But Lara refuses to listen at all. Before they could finish their words, she interrupted them in tears. I wasn't deceived. I already knew Amanda was Francis's ex-wife. So what? I've known all along that Francis was married and had children. That's all in the past. I married Francis, and I am his wife. Why are you trying to ruin my happiness? Sam felt that he was being deceived into marriage, as he was looked at with hatred by Lara, and he could only feel his heart grow cold. Sister, I can no longer manage Lara's affairs. He turned and left, moving faster than when he arrived, leaving the canteen in a complete mess. Lara insisted on marrying Francis, and the banquet continued. Old factory director and his wife dote on their daughter. Despite their anger, they were still prepared to relent. But the old secretary and the workers in the vehicle factory would not agree. Francis has a wife and children in his house. What marriage is he talking about? Don't make a fool of yourself. Amanda is so pitiful, taking care of her parents back home, giving birth and raising children. And now that he's the factory director, he doesn't want a wife or kids anymore. Isn't that heartless? Not to mention, even beasts are more compassionate. Look at him saying that Amanda is a relative who came to seek refuge, letting her be his nanny, to serve the two of them in his house. Who knows if he's just planning to enjoy the benefits without any effort. Pa, the old saying is really true. You can know a person's face but not their heart. Who would have thought our generous and righteous song factory director would be such a person? With everyone pointing fingers, the old secretary even refused to be the witness, directly telling the old factory director and his wife to keep their eyes peeled and find a good son-in-law. Then he left with a grim expression, waving his hand. As soon as he left, some upright people followed suit and also left. Guests trickled out of the canteen in small groups. No matter how much Lara caused a scene, this wedding was definitely not going to happen today. Watching more and more guests leave, she cried heart-wrenchingly, her eyes red as she looked at Francis. Francis, you tell me, was it that woman's doing? She just doesn't want us to get married. Francis looked pale, biting his back teeth as he said, I'm going to find her. Lara also wanted to go, but her parents held her back. Lara, you can't go. Do you know how the people at the factory will view you after what you just said? And now you still want to go home with Francis. Are you willing to throw away your reputation? Even if you don't care about your reputation, what about your dad's face? You can't go. Francis watched in disbelief as, in the blink of an eye, those who were once so pleased with him now looked at him with dissatisfaction and disdain. Full of complaints, his future in-laws have also changed their minds. He transformed from the highly praised and promising song factory director into a despised loser. Francis walked home at a brisk pace, faster and faster. His whole body was icy. After entering the house, he saw that the door to my bedroom was still tightly closed. He walked up to it and kicked the door open. Amanda, is that you? But when he saw the appearance of the room, he suddenly froze. I don't know when, but the room had returned to the way it was before Amanda and her daughter came. In the small room, there was only a bed, and nothing else on it. Francis's anger turned into an inexplicable panic as he knelt on one knee and looked under the bed. The snakeskin bag that Amanda and her mother used to store clothes was no longer under the bed. He breathed rapidly, got up, and looked around the living room. No. In this house, all of Amanda and Anna's belongings are gone. Amanda and Anna have disappeared together. Amanda and her grandfather were not originally from Song family village. They were outsiders. After Grandpa Mao passed away, Amanda was left with only Francis in Song family village. Francis's parents passed away one after the other, and she had no other relatives in Song's village, which is why she brought her daughter to seek refuge with Francis. She has no education and doesn't have much money. Where can we go? Francis doesn't believe she will leave. He ran out like a madman, searching all around the family compound, but found no trace of Amanda and her daughter. In the family compound, there are a few women with bad tempers. They used to greet him with beaming smiles from afar, but now they just roll their eyes when they see him. He turned his head away as if he hadn't seen him. Francis thought of something and ran to the factory health room. Amanda was of course not there. He asked Dr. Lee, "Amanda, where did she go?" Dr. Lee frowned slightly and said calmly, "I don't know." Clearly, he already knew what had happened in the canteen. Francis looked extremely embarrassed and said in a low voice, "Amanda was holding Anna and disappeared. She doesn't have much money on her and is with her daughter. I'm worried something might happen to them. If you know anything about them, please let me know." Dr. Lee saw that he was genuinely concerned about the safety of Amanda and her daughter, thought for a moment, and said, "Amanda came to the health room that day to talk to me about resigning. She must have been planning to leave for a while. Amanda is someone who thinks ahead, so she shouldn't run into any trouble." Francis quickly thanked and muttered to himself in confusion, "But Amanda has no other relatives besides me. As a woman with a 5-year-old child, where can she go?" He was determined to continue searching for someone. Dr. Lee couldn't help but call out to his retreating figure, "What are you still looking for Amanda for? She left on her own and won't interfere with you and the old factory director's daughter anymore. Lara is completely devoted to you. If you go to an house and behave well for a while, your marriage will be settled. If you bring Amanda back, even if Lara is willing, the old factory director and all the workers at the vehicle factory won't just stand by and watch her marry you. Isn't it great that we just let those two, mother and daughter, go like that?" Francis's back stiffened for a moment. He didn't answer Dr. Lee's question, striding out the door to continue asking people if they had seen Amanda and Anna. But even without answering Dr. Lee's question, he already had an answer in his heart. Francis admitted he was despicable, although he was preparing to marry Lara and have children, wanting to gain the strong support of the old factory director to manage the vehicle factory well and help all the employees develop properly. However, he had never considered not wanting Amanda. She was Songjiao village's flower, and at that time, all the young men in the village liked her. From the moment he understood things, Francis had set his sights on Amanda, hoping and dreaming that she would become his wife. He still remembers the day Amanda agreed to marry him. He was so happy that he couldn't sleep all night. All he could think about was how to treat her well in the future and to never let her regret marrying him. When she came to find him, Lara had already become his girlfriend. He knew very well what the consequences would be if anyone found out that Amanda was his wife, who had already given him children back in his hometown. But he still didn't directly drive Amanda and her daughter away. Instead, he found a reason to keep them around. He originally thought that once he married Lara and had children, everything at the vehicle factory would be in order, and all the connections of the old factory director would be handed over to him. Then he would confront an family, get a divorce, and give Lara whatever she wanted, without any hesitation. After that, he could turn back and continue to be a harmonious family of 4 with Amanda and live happily ever after. Until today, everything had been going according to his plan. How did it suddenly turn out like this? Amanda left, and Lara's wedding was also ruined. His reputation was completely destroyed. A hint of confusion flashed in Francis's eyes as he lowered his head in despair, but he quickly pulled himself together. No matter what, he absolutely could not lose Amanda. He had to find her back. Francis has asked everyone who has had a few more conversations with Amanda about the family compound, but there is no news at all. He couldn't understand how two living people could just vanish without a trace in one night. He was almost in despair, standing on the main road, not knowing where else to go. Two people who had just returned from grocery shopping passed by Francis, looking at him with strange expressions and whispering. Old Lee said that early this morning, there were trucks bringing in fresh vegetables. Francis's eyes suddenly lit up, and his steps quickened until he was almost running, rushing to the guardhouse of the vehicle factory. Uncle Lee, did you see Amanda carrying Anna out of the vehicle factory gate last night until today? Old Lee shook his head. I didn't see her. I was on the day shift today. Francis felt as if he had suddenly fallen from the sky, his bright eyes instantly dimming. Old Lee felt a moment of reluctance. Why don't you ask the night shift worker Diego? I took over the shift at 8 this morning. Francis nodded vigorously, replied, and went to find another guard Diego. He was called up from bed, squinting and thinking hard. I saw her. It seemed to be around 3 or 4 in the morning. She was carrying a baby and walking outside. I asked her, and she said she was going to visit relatives and needed to catch a train. He muttered. I see her face is a bit swollen. One hand is holding the child, and the other hand seems to be injured, unable to exert any strength. The burden is being awkwardly carried on her elbow. Caught off guard, Francis felt as if a knife had suddenly pierced through his chest. The pain was incredibly intense. In an instant, her face turned pale. Amanda is allergic to yam, but Francis deliberately made her prepare yam cake. Yesterday, her grandfather's belongings were destroyed, and she grabbed a brick to hit Lara. But he stopped her. Her strength is too great, and he also used all his strength. He knows how strong he is. Did he hurt her wrist? With a loud slap, Francis raised his hand and gave himself a hard slap on the face. Diego was startled. Song factory director? What are you doing? Francis shook his head. It's nothing. Are you sure you heard her correctly? She said she was going to catch a train, right? Diego nodded. I only encountered her and her daughter while on duty last night, and I spoke those few words with her. I won't remember it wrong. He added, if it weren't for catching a train, why would anyone leave at 3 or 4 in the morning? Francis relaxed his furrowed brow. Uncle Zhao, you're right. Thank you. I'll go find someone first, and I'll buy you cigarettes later. A city only has one train station, and the ticket clerk said she hadn't seen a woman with a child come to buy a ticket. Francis persistently checked the schedule again, but there was only one train to the capital at 7:30 in the morning. But there are many train stops, and he had no idea where Amanda would get off. Where would she go? Francis suddenly slapped himself across the face. He returned to the vehicle factory, enduring all the strange looks, working hard while trying every possible way to find Amanda and her daughter. But soon, someone brought Tony into his office. He was crying, his face covered in snot and tears. Dad, didn't we agree that after lunch, Miss Lara would be my mom? Why does everyone say you're not getting married anymore, and Miss Lara can't be my mom? I don't care. I want Miss Lara to be my mom. People inside and outside the office looked at Francis and his son with disdain. How did Francis teach his son to not recognize his own mother? Tony is 8 years old this year, and he is already in elementary school. He is not a 3-year-old child and understands things well. Originally, everyone didn't know. Seeing his bad attitude towards Amanda and her daughter, they thought he only had a good relationship with Lara. They only thought about how Lara wouldn't have to worry about the difficulties of being a stepmother after marrying Francis. But now they know that Tony is Amanda's son, who was brought to the vehicle factory by Francis after living in his hometown until he was 5. And he is attending the factory's elementary school. In just 2 years, this child won't even recognize his mother. What else could you call this but an ingrate? Francis, listening to the whispers outside the office, said with a stern face, "Shut up." But Tony had long been spoiled by him and Lara. He closed his eyes and cried loudly, I want Miss Lara to be my mom. I don't want the Grim Reaper's mom and the country bumpkin's younger sister. Francis couldn't hold back any longer and grabbed him, giving him a whack on the backside. Tony wailed, still calling for Lara to be his mom. Just when the situation was getting worse over there with Francis, Amanda finally arrived in the capital with Anna. Her teacher Paul and his wife Susie were waiting at the train station exit with their 2 sons to greet her. The moment they saw Amanda and her daughter, Both elders had slightly moist eyes. You finally made it. Amanda, you've suffered. Amanda shook her head. Back in the day, Paul and his wife went to the countryside to the Song family village. Both of them were practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine, so they often exchanged insights with Grandpa Mao. After getting to know her better, they realized that Amanda was smart and eager to learn. And since she was raised by Grandpa Mao and had a foundation in traditional Chinese medicine, they took her on as an apprentice. They wanted to take Amanda with them when they returned to the city, but Grandpa Mao was old, and Amanda couldn't possibly leave him alone. Plus she had already decided to marry Francis, so it was even more impossible for her to leave. This separation has lasted nearly 10 years. When Amanda was in Songjiao village, the Paul couple occasionally sent some things that are only available in the capital, including books, clothes, food, and drinks. Amanda will also write to them, sending some local specialties from the village, as well as herbs. Although the distance is far and transportation is inconvenient, both sides have not lost contact. Just Amanda went to the vehicle factory 2 months ago to find Francis, but discovered he had a partner and was about to marry someone else. She became a helpless nanny. For the past 2 months, Paul and the others have been unable to contact Amanda and were very worried. They tried every means to inquire about her situation in a city, and upon discovering something was wrong, they immediately had her come to the capital. Now they have finally reunited. Paul and his wife were extremely happy. Let's go. We'll take you to eat roast duck. Their eldest son is already married, and today he came with his wife and children. The little boy named Amias is only 1 year older than Anna. He has been raised very well, is polite, and quite refined. The 2 children huddled together, and he took out a big white rabbit milk candy from his pocket to give to Anna. By the time the group arrived at the roast duck restaurant, the 2 children had already become good friends. Paul and his wife asked with concern about Amanda's situation in a city. Even though Amanda had no intention of complaining, she still stated the facts. Amanda and her mother had also suffered great grievances and endured a lot of hardships. Heartless thing. Even wolves and tigers are stronger than him. Francie. He wants to climb the social ladder and marry the factory director's daughter, yet expects you to suffer in his house as a nanny. Is that something a person can do? If I get the chance, I must go to a city to see if Francis's heart is as dark as they say, and if his face is thicker than the corner of the city wall. Paul quickly advised her, forget it. Forget it. Anna is already understanding. If you scold like this, it will make the child uncomfortable, and you might scare her later. Besides, Amanda has already brought Anna here. The past is behind us. In the future, there will be no connection with those messy people. Why do you have to say things that will make both of them uncomfortable? Susie reluctantly nodded, holding back her temper. The couple's youngest son Martin is 2 years younger than Amanda and took good care of Amanda and her mother along the way. Once they sat down, he carefully wrapped the roast duck in pancakes and handed them with sauce to the 2. This restaurant in the capital makes the best roast duck, and it's personally approved by my picky mom. You all should give it a try. Susie playfully scolded, Martin, are you feeling mischievous? How am I picky? Martin laughed. In the capital, every roast duck restaurant is worth trying. And we've been to them all. This one has your approval. So if you're not picky, who else in this world deserves to be called picky? Susie pretended to be angry. Old man, look at your son. Paul Zhao helplessly said, don't look for me. I have no ability to settle the feud between you 2. Big brother also joined in the fun. I see mom is having an argument with Martin. Just right for Amanda and Anna to watch the joke. Everyone in the room burst into laughter. Although Anna couldn't quite understand what the adults were saying, she saw everyone laughing and her mom smiling, so she knew everyone was very happy. She laughed along too. Amanda was deeply moved. After dinner, the Zhao family took her to the Zhao family TCM clinic. The room for the mother and daughter had already been arranged, and work had been set up for her as well. Your medical skills are known to both you and your master's wife, so just focus on your work here. The clinic pays you a salary every month, which isn't much, 10 yuan less than Big Brother's salary. Zhao Big Brother inherited the careers of both, and he is also a traditional Chinese doctor, currently seeing patients at the TCM clinic, while Zhao Big Sister prepares the medicine. Only Martin is not interested in studying medicine. He has been doing business these past few years. Hearing Susie's words, he laughed heartily. Mom, what's going on? When Amanda wasn't here, you talked about her all the time, saying how great she is and how Big Brother can't compare. When the person arrived, you paid her a salary that was 10 yuan lower than Big Brother's. I'm someone who helps reason, not family. Amanda quickly said, No, any salary is fine. Martin shook his head. Amanda, you can't do that. If you encounter a ruthless boss, you'll be oppressed. Susie finally couldn't help but give him a nudge. Who are you talking about? I think you're the one who looks most like a heartless boss. The courtyard erupted in laughter again. In the capital, Amanda quickly integrated into Zhao's family, and life was getting better and better. In a city's heavy vehicle factory, the excitement was continuous, leaving the factory workers dazzled. Francis, that ungrateful son, forgetting the mother who gave him life, crying and shouting to have Lara be his mom. At first, Lara intentionally wanted to win him over, so that Francis would agree to marry her. Then Amanda showed up, using Tony as a pawn to beat and scold Amanda and Anna. Amanda's heart grew colder and she was driven away even faster. Now Amanda and her daughter have left. Lara wants to marry Francis, and it's no longer about whether Francis agrees or not. Of course, Tony was no use to her either. Tony ran to find her, and she only had one sentence: I still want to be your mom. You let your dad come marry me. The previous good-natured tone was gone, and she no longer stuffed Tony with food, drinks, and toys. Tony still made requests to her like before. I want to drink orange soda. Lara coldly said, What kind of soda do you drink in the middle of winter? No soda for you. Tony, who had never been treated like this before, was stunned, followed by crying and shouting, No, I want to drink. I want orange soda. Lara impatiently slapped him across the face. I told you to drink. Tony knew how to hit him, but he was holding back. Lara was already so annoyed, having to deal with her parents and Francis again, that in a fit of anger, she slapped Tony so hard that stars danced in his eyes, and soon his face was swollen with 5 finger marks. He was completely stunned by the hit, bursting into a loud, earth-shattering cry. You hit me. You dare to hit me. I won't let you be my mom anymore. I'll get my dad to beat you up. You bad woman. The more he spoke, Lara became angrier and stepped forward to kick him. Fortunately, someone heard the commotion and quickly stopped her. He's still a child. Whose fault is it if you cause a problem? Lara, how can you, an adult, lay hands on a little kid like that? It's outrageous. They are all employees of the vehicle factory and used to treat Lara, whom they watched grow up, very well, caring for her like a younger generation. But ever since they found out that she knew Francis had a wife and kids, and that his wife even came to confront her, she still treated them like unfortunate nannies who depended on her and bullied them mercilessly. Even if everyone doesn't say it on the surface, they can't possibly still see her as the simple and straightforward young relative. Lara was so infuriated by those strange looks that she stomped her feet and turned to rush into her house. Mom and Dad, I have decided on Francis for life, and no one can change my mind. If you don't agree, then I won't marry anyone else. Whether I stay at home or go to Francis's house, it's no different from marrying him. An old factory director and his wife have aged at least 10 years from all the trouble she has caused them during this time. At that moment, hearing Lara's words made her so angry that she could barely stand. What a sin! What a sin! They couldn't bear to truly teach their daughter a lesson, so they had to vent their anger on Francis. It's all his fault. He must have drugged their daughter. He has her so enchanted that she no longer recognizes her own family and insists on marrying him. When the canteen wedding fell through, from that day on, troubles began piling up for Francis at work. People who had previously worked smoothly with him suddenly started causing all sorts of problems. At the factory, it was either this place had an issue or that person had messed up again, and he had to handle it all. He is so busy that he is overwhelmed, and the little spare time he has is spent looking for Amanda and her daughter. He simply has no time to care for his son, let alone talk to Lara. The originally clean and tidy clothes have become wrinkled, and his stubble has grown out. It's as if he has completely changed into another person. Francis doesn't care. As soon as he stops, He can't help but think of one question: where has Amanda gone? It's been so long without any news. Could something have happened to her and Anna? Just thinking about this drives him almost insane. Martin is in business and has a wide network of contacts. A few days after the new year, he quietly found someone to help resolve the household registration and school enrollment issues, allowing Amanda to start studying and preparing for the college entrance examination. After getting into university, she obtained her degree. She was also registered for the medical license, and she could go directly to take the exam once it started. Amanda never mentioned any of this, and the Zhao family had already considered everything for her. Her future will only go up. It can never get worse. Amanda, I can only repay her by working harder and studying well to prepare for the exam. They had only just arrived at the clinic, and Anna was gradually slipping back into the time when she was in Song's village. Loves to play and laugh. Amanda is doing a great job with the kids, even though Francis is often away from home. Both Anna and Tony, when he was in Song's village, are very well behaved and listen to her. The two children have never felt inferior or been bullied just because their dad is not at home. Grandpa Mao has passed away, but Amanda also has medical skills. She has a good temper, and whenever someone in the village is unwell, she helps them out, gets some medicine, and doesn't charge anything. It's all up to the villagers to decide whether to take some vegetables from their homes, or collect bird eggs from the mountains, or hunt wild game. Amanda never says much. The villagers all like her, and consequently, they are very kind to her two children. The two kids grew up in a nurturing environment. When going to the vehicle factory, Amanda said to Anna that they were going to find their dad and brother, and that the family would be together and never apart. Anna was initially very hopeful and excited, but when they arrived at the vehicle factory, neither their dad nor brother recognized them. She became Song family's nanny's child, and her mom was constantly bullied. She was terrified. Her courage began to shrink, and she became more prone to tears. If she continues to stay at Song's house, I don't know what she will become. Amanda feels a sharp pain in her heart just thinking about it. Anna's changes are also one of the reasons she decided to leave. Now seeing her daughter return to her appearance in Song's village, Amanda feels that coming to the capital was the right decision. Her life is now busy and fulfilling, and everything is getting better. The Zhao family has all agreed not to mention Francis and his son. Amanda and Anna haven't thought about them for a long time. Meanwhile, in the heavy vehicle factory in a city, a chaotic new year has passed. Francis finally found Amanda. She went to the capital. Paul was also there when the couple was in the village, including Amanda doing Paul's apprentice work. He knew all about it. It's just that he later left home to join the army, was transferred to a city, and had too little time to come home. As for Amanda, he only knew that she had always been in the village, hardly ever going to the county town in a whole year. He had no idea that they had been in contact all along, and that their relationship was very good. He couldn't find Amanda anywhere, so he could only call back home, and after several twists and turns, he finally got a clue and found her. Francis confirmed several times on the phone that Amanda was indeed at the Zhao family TCM clinic in the capital. After thanking him, he hung up the phone and rushed to the train station to buy the next train ticket to the capital. With the train ticket in hand, he returned to the factory. Just as he stepped through the door, Lara rushed over. "Francis, did you find Amanda? Are you going to look for her? Have you been lying to me this whole time?" Her eyes were red, and she looked almost frantic. Francis paused for a moment, still pondering how to respond. Lara had already stepped forward and directly reached into his pocket, pulling out the train ticket. After clearly seeing the words above, Lara gritted her teeth and said, "The train ticket to the capital. Are you really going to find that shameless woman?" She raised her hand as if to tear the train ticket, but she was grabbed by the wrist by Francis. Lara cried hysterically, "Let go! Let go! Amanda! That shameless bitch! How dare she compete with me? If she dares to seduce you and runs off to the capital, I won't let her off the hook. I'll make sure her two little brats have a miserable life." Francis couldn't help but grip harder, just like he did when he grabbed Amanda the day before their wedding, perhaps even harsher than back then. He said with a stern face, "Amanda is the one I brought home to marry. I have already let her down. It's all my fault. You can hit me or scold me, but don't blame her. The child is innocent too. Lara, in pain and with a twisted expression, hoarsely said, I just want to curse. Why doesn't that bitch Amanda die in the ravine? I curse her to be. Before she could finish her words, someone covered her mouth from behind. Francis forcibly snatched the train ticket from her hand and carefully placed it back in his pocket. Lara's mother looked at Lara with deep sorrow. Lara, you can't be so confused about right and wrong. What good is Francis? A beast? Why do you have to hang yourself on this crooked tree? Lara turned around and hit her. You are not my mom. My mom wouldn't just watch me suffer like this. I just want to marry Francis. Why won't you agree? Why? Lara's mother stepped back 2 paces, her face pale, eyes closed, tears streaming down as she murmured, unfortunate family. Unfortunate family. The people in the factory have watched her age at least 20 years during this time. Now Lara is still making her angry, and it's a bit hard to bear. Lara, look at how upset your mom is. You should understand a bit and stop. Lara directly slapped the person. Who are you to talk? Get lost. That person was also an old worker from the vehicle factory who had watched Lara grow up, about the same age as her mom. Being slapped in front of everyone like that turned his face pale. Lara's mother stepped forward, wiping her tears and apologizing. The person sighed deeply. Forget it. As the old saying goes, children are a debt. Everyone saw Lara as if she had been enchanted. She was determined to marry Francis and didn't want to meddle in other people's affairs anymore. Walked slowly. Francis is also leaving, but he was stopped by Lara's mother, who said with a gloomy expression, since you still have feelings for your wife, you should clarify things with Lara. Don't let her be the laughingstock anymore. I can't take any more of this with her dad. Francis stopped, turned his head, took a deep breath and said, Lara, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I need to go find. Lara covered her ears and shouted, I won't listen. I don't care. Lara just want to marry Francis. She turned and ran away. Lara's mother shook a few times and finally fainted, her face turning pale. Lara's mother was so upset that she ended up in the hospital. Francis went home to pack his things, preparing to head to the capital. He planned to take Tony with him, thinking that Amanda would soften when she saw their son, even if she was angry with him, as long as she came back. He had plenty of time. He could take it slow, and one day she would change her mind. In the end, they will still be a harmonious and happy family of 4. He couldn't care less about any future prospects or great ambitions. Tony was feeling down and a bit scared. Dad, what if Mom doesn't forgive us? During this time, Lara changed her attitude towards him drastically, hitting and scolding him. He finally understood what the other kids at school meant when they said stepmothers are all bad. Moreover, everyone in the family compound knew Tony was a little ingrate. Unlike before when Francis was the promising song factory director, and everyone was warm and friendly towards him, he was scared and regretted it. Francis took a deep breath. We did something wrong. Mom won't forgive us. We should apologize to her, correct our mistakes, and show her that we've changed. Then she will forgive us. Tony held his hand, not daring to speak. The two prepared to set off, but they were stopped at the gate by 2 officials from the factory. The 2 had serious expressions. Song, the factory director. Someone reported that you have made significant mistakes in your recent work and have serious personal issues. Please cooperate with us for an investigation. Francis actually anticipated this day when the wedding in the canteen was interrupted. The Yin family will never let him go, even if he doesn't take action himself. He single-handedly established the vehicle factory and worked there until retirement. Many people would be willing to take action for him. Originally, Francis, a completely unestablished outsider, suddenly became the new factory director at the vehicle factory, which made some people secretly unhappy. Now Francis has handed over a big handle, and of course, people will seize it and not let go. Before long, Francis was stripped of his position as factory director. As the departure time approached, he couldn't care less about his future. He grabbed Tony and took his luggage to the train station. He didn't know he was already on the train. Lara followed on the same train shortly after. Francis had already made things clear to her, but she still insisted on marrying him. An S family tried to stop her. She was at home feeling hopeless. Eventually, someone suggested that she go to the capital to see for herself how Francis and Amanda were getting back together. That was when she finally gave up. After Francis got off the train, he first found a guest house and took a shower with his son before changing clothes. Only then did he head to the Zhao family TCM clinic. But when he reached the entrance, he didn't dare to go in. He knows best what he has done. He let Amanda down, hurt her, and made her completely lose hope in him. What face does he have now to ask her to go back with him? Just as he hesitated, Francis saw Amanda leave with a handsome man dressed in a thick wool coat. In just a month, Amanda looked much better, and her face had filled out a bit. She wore a dusty rose coat, looking elegant and serene. She walked side by side with the man. A man is holding Anna, who is wearing a fluffy hat, her small face adorned with a bright smile. It felt like a scene from A Family of Three, deeply piercing Francis. A deep fear arose in his heart. He had never thought about what he would do if Amanda already had someone else and never looked back. Amanda was nagging Martin, if you're going to buy books, just buy books. This time, no buying clothes or shoes for Anna. Soon it will be warm, and by this time next year, she will have grown out of them, so buying them would be a waste. Martin had a relaxed smile on his face, and Amanda could get him to agree to anything. But Amanda knew that while he would agree, he wouldn't blink an eye when it came to spending money. It had been like this the last few times they went out. Don't just agree with your words and not follow through. Before she could finish her sentence, Amanda spotted the noticeably thinner Francis and his son. She paused for a second, maintaining her composure as she continued. Otherwise, why don't you give me the money to hold on to, and I'll return it to you when you come back. If not, I won't go with you. Martin smiled and said, okay, I just need to go get my wallet. As they brushed past each other, Francis's lips moved, and he hoarsely called out the name etched in his soul, Amanda. Tony also quietly called out, Mom. Martin looked at Amanda, who seemed not to hear, urging him, hurry up, or the book we want to buy will be snatched away. Martin responded and took the opportunity to grab her hand, striding past Francis. Moving forward, this time Amanda didn't immediately pull away from him like before. He immediately took advantage of the situation, holding on tightly and refusing to let go. The man is tall, the woman is petite, holding a lovely daughter. No matter how you look at it, they are a happy family of three. Francis stared intently at the man's large hand as it enclosed Amanda's hand in his palm, his eyes reddening. She did not linger, nor did she look back. Tony suddenly cried out with a sobbing voice, Mom, sister, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. Amanda only paused for a moment before continuing to walk forward. Francis remained frozen in place, his eyes unblinking as he watched Amanda's retreating figure. It's like being crazy. Suddenly, a person appeared from the side. With a shove, he pushed Tony into the middle of the road. You little bastard. You go die first. Next is Amanda. I want all of you to die. Lara was screaming. A car came crashing. Francis turned pale, and without thinking, rushed over to hold Tony in his arms. The father and son were both hit by the car, flying high into the air, landing on the ground with blood splattering everywhere. Lara screamed as she rushed over. Francis. Amanda turned her head and saw Francis and his son lying on the ground, glaring blood oozing out. She finally changed her expression. Martin immediately covered her eyes. Amanda. Don't look. Amanda, however, moved his hand away. I'm fine, she said softly. Please move Anna away. She's still too small. Martin responded and carried Anna into a shop by the roadside, anxiously watching Amanda through the glass. She walked step by step to the person on the ground. Tony was tightly closing his eyes, blood all over his head and body. Francis was soaked in blood, with blood still oozing from the corner of his mouth. Lara knelt on the ground, crying heart-wrenchingly, Francis, please don't die. I didn't mean to. I never wanted you to die. Please, don't die. But Francis seemed to not hear her. He just struggled to reach out to Amanda, his eyes filled with regret and longing. He used all his strength to say, Amanda, can you forgive me? Amanda quietly looked at him, without responding. Francis kept his hand outstretched like that, until he closed his eyes filled with regret and unwillingness. He would never open them again.